once. And hey, look at that. We're actually set up for once. Actually, really impressed. Not often that happens anymore. There we go. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right. Usually everyone gets here quicker than this. OSD, please don't. Where are you? I said please don't. Also, legitimately, I do not know who all's going to be here tonight. I, I, I just don't. Why please don't? Considering all that guy ever has to say is colorblind jokes, like ever. Not to say I hate the colorblind jokes at all, it's just, yes, okay. Anyway, I don't know who all's going to be here tonight. I don't know if it's just going to be a one on one. I don't know if Spider's going to. It's more so. Okay, well, you're not wrong. But it's both of them. But anyway, I don't know if this is going to be a one on one. I don't know if it's going to be a me, you, Spider. I don't know who all's going to be here. But I guess. Are you there, Jesse? It's me, Gardner. Okay, no, you're not funny. Okay, anyway. You're funny, but you're not. Anyway. I don't know who all's going to be here tonight. So, I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. Welcome to Wonder After Dark. So, previously. Are you there, Jesse? It's me. Name withheld. Haha, funny. Okay, so previously on. Fuck. Anyway, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and get into it because I don't know who all's going to be here tonight. I'm just not going to waste any time. But anyway, what I was going to say. By the way, I was shocked to see those Asylum films today. It's not that I was shocked to see them because of you, it's the fact that I'm shocked they're still making anything. I mean, they did re release Sharknado this past. Might have been 2 years. Whatever. I know they re released Sharknado recently, but I forget they do anything new. I know they're making stuff. Anyway, in my case, I just forget that they make new content. Sharknado 4K UHD. Funny you say that because they did re release Sharknado to theaters back in 2023 with a 4K restoration. They did put out that restoration physically, but hilariously not on the 4K format, only on DVD. Normally, I would find that really questionable, but I just think that's incredibly on brand for the Asylum. Sharknado is their only good movie, even if it's dumb. Agree. Stay tuned. Anyway, back on topic. Anyway, I don't know who all's going to be here for this episode, so I'm just going to go ahead and get into it. So, previously on Wonder After Dark, we went to Italy, and then we... Like, legit, it's lightning in a bottle. Agree. Now let's get back on topic, as much as I'd love to talk about Sharknado. Anyway, so previously on Wonder After Dark, we went to Italy and then went to hell. Wait, my mistake, that was last night. I meant to talk about last week. Okay, jokes aside, previously on Wonder After Dark, we talked about pre-bronies. Yeah, pretty much. Even though the My Little Pony franchise existed at the time, but oh well. Even though technically, yes, it was before brony culture. By the pre-bathroom, sure. By the way, this is the single most ironic shirt I could be wearing tonight. Not because of what's on it, but because of the phrase directly underneath. Can you read what that says? But yeah, but bronies didn't officially come until 2000. You're not wrong. Anyway, this shirt is incredibly ironic tonight, not because of who's on it, but because of what it says directly underneath. Can you read what that says? There's a certain level of irony to that. Now let's get back on topic, pretty please. Okay, but... Shirt text incorrect. I'm the absolute worst. Yes. Anyway. You all are. All one of you. But anyway. That joke would probably be funnier if there was more than one right now, but oh well. Anyway. Okay, but previously we discussed Spirit... One club, yep. Okay, fucking... Woo, yeah, kill yourself. Anyway. Okay, I want to hit people with a frying pan. Anyway. And then myself. But anyway. Previously on Wonder After Dark, we reviewed... Well, let me rephrase that. We vaguely hinted at the idea of Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, as I was instead being met with an onslaught of dementia, hellfire, and suicidal thoughts. You know what I'm talking about. You know who was responsible. Well, you remember. You was there too. Mater's Tall Tales. Stay tuned. Now, but anyway, we did cover Stallion of the Cimarron previous. You could say it was in Spirit... Shut up. Anyway, we did cover Stallion of the Cimarron. Now, to recap, Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron was a 2002 Western film produced by DreamWorks Animation, which released in May of 2002. Now, the reason that I'm recapping, the film was a critical and commercial success, although despite this success, DreamWorks never really did anything with it. To recap, narrating horse that was good, but people forgot about it because Spider-Man came out the same... Pretty much. Oh yeah, admittedly, I did forget to mention that last week. But yeah, the film opened alongside Spider-Man, so it was gonna be... Even though it did do really well financially, it was never gonna compare to Spider-Man. Let's just say that. In terms of how well it would do, not in terms of quality. In fact, I'd say the two films are pretty comparable in terms of quality. They're both great. I mean, they're great in different ways, but... Attack of the Clones opened alongside Spider-Man as well. That too. But anyway, back on topic. But a month before, I think. Yeah, either way, back on topic. But anyway, despite the success of Stallion of the Cimarron, DreamWorks never really did anything with the film outside of the film. But why would they? Because if you've seen the movie, it's a perfect standalone, self-contained, isolated story. You know, it doesn't end on like a "we'll be right back" or a "to be continued." None of that mess. And while, yes, you probably could do like a spin off and then years later they made something. I was getting there, but let me finish. I don't work as fast as you do, but anyway. And while we'll be back, Mac and me. Yep, that. Anyway, what I was saying. But, you know, it didn't end on like a "we'll be back." It didn't end on "to be continued." None of that. It was a perfect "I will thank you, Father," The Last Airbender. I haven't watched it yet. Now shut up and let me finish. But anyway. But it was a perfect, isolated, self-contained, standalone story. Sinestro finds a yellow ring, green lamp. Okay, I get it. Those are great examples, but I get it. Now, anyway, but what I was saying, but, okay, fixing my hair here. But anyway, all the ones I mention are for sequels that never happen. That's completely fair. Although in this case, there was no sequel on the table originally, so not sure why you bring those examples up here when Spirit did not necessarily set up a sequel. Oh, and also M. Bison's hand at the end of Street Fighter the movie. Stay tuned. Yep. By the way, the new Street Fighter movie that's in the works got delayed indefinitely, but we'll talk about that another time. Anyway. But just so you know, that anyway, but what I was saying. But it didn't end like with any Spirit too. Please let me sort of. Anyway. But yeah, the film didn't really end on like a "we'll be back" or "to be continued." And while yes, you probably, you know, it was a standalone story, one and done. And while yes, you probably could, in theory, it was a sequel, it was a Spirit sequel in Spirit. Yes, now please let me finish. Anyway, and while yes, you probably could, in theory, do either a spin-off about new characters in the same universe, or a legacy sequel set, you know, years into the future. Why would you? Let me rephrase that. Let's just say lots of people largely forgot about this film. Yeah, anyway. Let me rephrase what I just said. Why would you on time when you could wait about 14 to 15 years? And that's the subject of tonight. So, damn it. Okay. And that's the subject of tonight. So, buckle up, fuckle up, too late, 15 years too late. Yep. Saddle up as we dive back into DreamWorks' Spirit franchise with the revival stuff. Okay? So, anyway, alright, catching my breath. Anyway, so, I said previously that over time the film developed a cult following. And while I wouldn't say it was as big as like the Harry Potter fandom or the Lord of the Rings fandom or the Thomas fandom or the Sonic fandom, it was still a decently sized cult following. And of course that cult following for years would clamor to see another Spirit, not realizing that it was kind of a standalone thing. Oopsie daisy. But anyway. So, I mentioned how possibly this new series was made to combat My Little Pony as a possibility. It was never confirmed, but it is possible. Again, it was never outright confirmed, and I don't think we will ever know, but it was at least the timing. Well, yeah, the timing. But anyway, Even though it came out about 7 years too late. But anyway. You know, okay, but anyway. But the first film, Stallion of the Cimarron, developed a pretty sizable cult. And then come. Yeah, please let me finish for the love of God. But, like, you're allowed to be jokey, but let me get a word in so I'm not constantly stopping in the middle of my thought to read what you say. But anyway. But the first film, Stallion of the Cimarron, developed a pretty sizable cult following, which of course meant that people were clamoring for some kind of follow-up. Saw we, know it okay. Nothing's okay, but it okay at least. I have a ghost problem. I'm haunted. Help. Anyway. You could either interpret that as self-deprecating humor and a friendly jab, or a teaser for me reviewing Ghostbusters. It's up to interpretation. You can either take that as a Ghostbusters teaser or a joke about my life. It works both ways. But anyway, now imagine the Spirit fan... I have a buying plushies problem. Yep. Together, we are depression. Okay, but anyway. Finals week or my final week? Stay tuned. Not gonna lie, I find it a little impressive. I haven't self-harmed myself on any of these. Not saying I should, I just think it's impressive. But anyway. Back on topic. But imagine the excitement of the Spirit fandom when DreamWorks announced in 2000... You have shot yourself on one stream. Yeah, but did I stay dead? No. Anyway, I still have the clip. Yes, you do. And you know, I was being serious, by the way, but anyway, back on topic. But imagine the excitement of the I can make the clip seem like you stayed dead. Well, yeah, you can, but let's get back on track, pretty please. Anyway. After all, I only get one shot at happiness every night, and this is it. It just varies from night to night. But anyway. But, okay, maybe not happiness, but definitely a therapeutic delight. But anyway. Okay, but imagine the delight of the Spirit fandom when it was announced that the show would be, or that the film, I should say, would be returning in the form of a Netflix show. Now, this comes as no surprise because around this time was when DreamWorks was producing a lot of content for Netflix. You know, you got stuff like Turbo Fast, The Adventures of Puss in Boots, All Hail King Julian, stuff like that. So it came as really no surprise that Spirit would probably get a show at Netflix. Because again, DreamWorks was producing a lot of stuff for Netflix at this time. DreamWorks was sucking Netflix so hard. They really were. They really, really, really were. But anyway. I never noticed until you brought that up, not gonna lie. I bet you will now. Okay, but anyway. I fucking hope you noticed, but anyway, back on topic. But yeah, it came as no surprise because they were producing a lot of stuff for Netflix around this time. But anyway, people were excited. Like, okay, what is, like, are we... All Hail King Julian, stay tuned. We haven't even finished Madagascar yet. We're still on movie 1. We have not done 2, 3, and on. But anyway, back on... I mean, granted, wouldn't be the first time we've done a franchise out of order or jumped around, but still. But anyway, but what I was saying. But regardless, people were excited about... We don't need to go through every movie before a specific time. I mean, you're not wrong. Unless it's like... Okay, like, unless it's like the Marvel... Sometimes the wait is just too much. That's fair. Anyway. Sometimes the wait is just too much for me. That rhymes with me. Okay, anyway. Enough stabbing myself in the cunt. Like, think. Leprechaun 4 got you... Yeah, it got me curious, and then it disappointed me. Just like everything else in life. So actually, in a hilarious twist of fate, Leprechaun 4 actually ended up being, comedically speaking, the perfect episode. There was a certain amount of irony to that one. You have to admit, knowing me, that was actually hilarious. that it set itself up to be like silly fun and was just a disappointment. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. Funny. It was funny, yes. Anyway, what I was saying. Anyway, but imagine the excitement when a Spirit show was announced for Netflix. Now imagine how those fans reacted. I'm say it again and then fall. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. Okay, anyway. Now what I was saying. Okay, but also LMFAO, yep, funny. Party rock anthem. Anyway, but yeah, the fandom was excited. Now imagine how that fandom must have reacted when this was the first look image. If you just remember what the first movie was like and then you look at this poster, you tell me how the fandom reacted. Generic horse movie. I mean, badly. I mean, that's basically the short and very nondescript. Anyway, yeah, initial reactions upon reveal and upon official announcement were mixed to negative, to put it lightly. Most were mixed, but it was largely negative. The main point of criticism came from the massive tonal shift. You go from the movie, which paints itself and is, talk about how our gardener thought. I'm getting there, let me finish. I want to talk to general public, then I want to talk people I know, okay? Slow down, I don't think that fast. Anyway, 90 minutes must feel like 9 minutes for you, but initial reactions were mixed to negative. But largely still negative. The main point of criticism came from the massive tonal shift. You go from the movie, which paints itself as, a grand, epic adventure through the West, and a big adventure about a horse fighting for its freedom, to be wild, to be free, to 3 girls and their horses go on adventures. I mean, I guess, it being a kid's show, because this was aimed at kids, clearly. They probably figured, okay, kids are going to be bored if we do the same thing the movie did, and we probably want to do something different, so let's shake things up a little. Plus, these Netflix shows are produced on a much lower I, as a kid, was bored. Exactly. And while granted you might like it better at your current age, you might come to love it, but still, I can see why they maybe went in a different, of course, yeah. I can see why they maybe went in a different direction. Because, well, not just kids being bored, but just the market had changed so much. So, okay, that makes sense. Of course, I'd probably like it if I watched it, yes. Anyway, back on topic. But I don't know if I'd love it, but still, yeah. I mean, to be fair, though, no. You know I'm right. Even if you thought it was just okay, you would probably still want a plushie after watching it. You know I'm right. Even if you just thought it was okay, you would probably still think, I gotta have a plushie of him. Okay, fair. No, it depends. I mean, depends on what exactly. I'm not asking sarcastically, I'm just saying depends on what. Like, just genuinely. Yeah. I only get plushies of characters I get really attached to. Well, then I guess it comes down to a rewatch. When is that? I don't know. But anyway, back on topic. But many people pointed their fingers at this and basically called it just a generic girl and her horse cartoon. My Pikachu shrine is an example. Yeah, of course. But anyway. Um, yeah, but anyway, back to what I was saying. But, yeah, but many people called it just a generic horse show. Many people were not thrilled. Many people were yeah. Yeah. But regardless, it was too late to back. You're a generic horse show. Okay, okay, conveniently horse-sized Doug. If not horse, why horse-shaped? Anyway, but what I was saying. Okay, but regardless, though, it was too late to back. Okay, horse boomer. Horse boomer? Yeah, okay. Okay, Doug. Okay, Doug millennial. Anyway. Why can't two legends coexist? Why can't Dougs and horses exist in peace? Anyway, what I was saying. Okay, but regardless of how the fans reacted, it was too late to back out now. As soon after a line. Okay, Doug Dimmadome. Doug Dimmadome. Homer. Okay, anyway, I just totally fucked that up, so I'm not going to try again. But anyway. Comically large hat. Anyway. Okay, but regardless of how the fans react. Dimsdale Dimmadome, yep. Okay, anyway, but regardless of how the fans reacted, it was too late to back out now, as a line of toys and merchandise were released soon after. Which brings us to the main thing I was gonna say. Spirit Riding Free is an American television animated series produced by DreamWorks Animation Television and distributed by Netflix. Based on the 2002 film Spirit Stallion of the Cimarron, and the first in the Spirit franchise, the series was first released on Netflix on May 5th, 2017. Just a few weeks before the 15th anniversary of the movie. Looking back at it, I think releasing this show a few weeks before the 15th anniversary was kind of on purpose. Like, at first I didn't think anything of it, but considering the 15th anniversary of the movie would have been a couple weeks after this, yeah, I think they picked that release window on complete purpose. I don't mean that as a complaint, I just think that's amusing. But anyway, the show stars the voices of Amber Frank, Sydney Park, Bailey Gamber Togaleo, Daisy Rose Byrnes, I think that's how you say that, Amber Heard. Nope, not her. Anyway, Nolan North and Carrie Walgreen. Also, Nolan North. Hey, there's a name I know. And there's a name you probably know. I think. I really don't know. Jesse is pro Amber Heard. And I'm pro shut the fuck up. But yeah. Anyway. The show premiered. I think I know Nolan North. Yeah. Anyway. But we're not here to talk about Nolan North. But anyway. I know who he is, so let's just move on. Anyway. The show premiered and ran for a total of 8 seasons with 52 episodes. And it ran from May 5th, 2017 to December 8th, 2020. Now 8? Yep. Oh, no. 2017 to 2020. Now you're probably thinking right now, how the fuck did they get 8 seasons out that fast from 17 to 2020? Well, if you know Netflix must have been short seasons. Actually, yes, that's part of it. Every season of Spirit Riding Free only has about 6 episodes at 23 minutes each. So, yeah, the seasons were very short. So they likely put out at least 2 a year. Plus, I don't know if you know this, but I do. Netflix will typically order a specific batch of a show and then cut it into a bunch of smaller batches. Netflix burns through series because they hate theirs. Yes, that's exactly what I just said. So, although Riding Free had quote unquote 8 seasons, it's pretty likely that those 8 Pokemon Horizons, stay tuned. Oh god. Now, what I was trying to say, but it seems likely, given the Netflix model, that those 8 seasons was actually closer to 3 or 4, and then cut up to lengthen the run. Sonic Prime, stay tuned. Okay, before I continue, can I just say, people who hate Sonic Prime are the least goddamn funny people on the planet. Like, oh, it's Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Oh, it's Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Oh, it's Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Shut up! We get it. Move on. Shut up. Is it a goofy show? I mean, it's a kid's show. Which, of course, means it's like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. It also means you're fucking retarded. I never watched it. Let's get back on topic before I have a stroke. All Sonic shows were kid shows. Exactly! But let's get back to Spirit before I blow a gasket. Better yet, let's get back to Spirit before I genuinely blow my brains out. Anyway, the show was produced, as I said, by DreamWorks Animation Television, and as I said, it aired on Netflix. Although, there is something interesting I would like to bring up in relation to that. Although, Netflix sound. Oh yeah, Kevin Spacey. Anyway, here's something interesting I would like to bring up before we continue. Although the show was originally announced as a Netflix original, it was actually supposed to air as well on Disney Channel. So it was supposed to air simultaneously. Oof, Roblox, yep. It was actually supposed to air simultaneously on Netflix and Disney Channel. But ultimately, it only aired on Netflix. It never made it to Disney Channel. So, airing a DreamWorks show on Disney. Well, that almost happened, but it never ended up Yeah, that would go well. I mean, yeah. I mean, it never materialized, and it ultimately only aired on Netflix. But it was almost a simultaneous release. Anyway, what I was saying. Although, wait, let me say it again. Okay. You hear Detroit out there? You hear Cyberpunk out there? Yeah, like that's ever gonna happen. Anyway, to be fair though, I think the reason the dual release strategy fell apart for Netflix and Disney Channel. What the lord of somebody? Anyway, okay, but I think the reason why it only aired on Netflix rather than on Netflix and Disney Channel was because at this time, Disney was probably in the planning stages for Disney Plus, and they didn't want, this show for Netflix by a rival studio and a rival service. So I'm just saying, they were probably planning Disney Plus at the time, and that's probably why it fell through. And it's probably why it only made it to Netflix. Streaming services killed TV. Agree, but we'll talk about that another time. Anyway, so what's the premise of... Oh, now you gotta pay to watch it. I mean, to be fair, though, you still had to pay for cable. So, your point? I mean, I feel like paying for streaming is worse, but anyway. Alright, so what's the premise of Spirit Riding Free? Now that we know that it exists, what's the premise? Well, set in the small frontier town of Miradero. No idea if I even said that. The premise, girl loves horses. Well, you're not wrong. Anyway, set in the small frontier town of Miradero. I don't even know if I said that correctly, but anyway, during the early 1900s, a 12-year-old girl named Fortuna Lucky Esperanza Miradero. Okay. Okay, I fucking read it. Miradero. Stop. Stop. Anyway, I get it now. Anyway, a 12-year-old girl named Fortuna Lucky Esperanza Prescott, or, yeah, get a load of this name. Fortuna Lucky Esperanza Navarro Prescott. Okay. Okay, Carmen. Anyway. Anyway, let's just call her Lucky for short. Anyway, 12-year-old girl named Lucky, who had recently relocated from the city, encounters a wild... What are you doing, Spirit Bro? Anyway, who had recently relocated from the city, encounters a wild Kiger Mustang named Spirit Jr., who is actually the son of Spirit and Rain from the original movie. So there you go, there's your explanation. He's not the same character from the movie, he's the son of the original. Okay, I will admit that's actually pretty cool, but anyway. That's a neat way to tie them together. Without, completely retconning everything. But anyway. When Lucky is on the train traveling to Miradero, Spirit Jr., which can also be named Spirit too. Anyway, the horse is caught by wranglers and brought into Miradero to be broken in. Broken in. Lucky, of course, immediately bonds with the stallion and frees him from his pen. She then also makes friends with Prudence Granger and Abigail Stone. Prue owns a talented and proud Palomino horse named Chicalinda. Yeah, the jokes write themselves with that name. Fucking sassy black woman, Chicalinda. Anyway. And Abigail owns a friendly and goofy pinto horse called Boomerang. These three girls call themselves the Pals and go on many adventures with their horses. Granger sounds like Hermione Granger. That is something I would expect out of Spider before you. Because he's the Harry Potter nut. In fact, I feel like if I said that right now, with him in the room, you know how that would end. I wouldn't hear the fucking end of it. Anyway. Anyway. But yeah, that's basically the premise. So, yeah. Rather than I know nothing about Harry Potter, but I know Hermione. To be fair, though, if you know Harry Potter and Malfoy, yeah. To be fair, though, even if you're not a fan of Harry Potter, I feel like everybody knows, Harry, Ron, Hermione, Voldemort, and Malfoy, apparently. But let's get back to horses. So, yeah. That's basically the premise. So, Snape too. Anyway. Now, let's please not. Anyway, but what I was saying. But yeah, the film basically goes in the opposite direction of the movie. While the movie Shut up, Cracker. Nope, we're not done yet. While the movie focuses on one big epic adventure with big emotional stakes, the show opts instead to focus on a smaller scale setting with smaller scale adventures. This show just is for kids. Exactly. It's a kid's show. So, of course, it's not going to have as big... And at that, it's a lower budget kid's show. So, it's not going to have as big of a scope. But what about that motherfucking reception? Well, although it was received negatively upon announcement, reception would ultimately prove positive. Emily Ashby of Common Sense Media described the series as sweet, arguing that it treads lightly on factual strife between new settlers and the indigenous population, and said that the series raises value positive by critics only. You're not wrong, but anyway. Raises issues such as migration and assimilation, while saying that Lucky was a heroine who showed courage, selflessness, and a tireless sense of adventure. Which I do agree with there, at least. Anyway, Ashby further argued that the series has stories that are humorous and heartwarming. and themes which reflect the changing atmosphere of the 19th century American West. Heroin? More like heroin. How do people die from heroin? I thought he was from Minecraft. Anyway. Dave Trombone, or Trombore. I dead-ass thought his name was Trombone, and I was about to say, what you know about? Anyway. Dave Trombore of Collider, Tromboner. Semen, penis, boner. Anyway. Dave Trombore. And I said I could watch that man rape the newspaper. Anyway. Dave Trombore of Collider said that the series at Ralph Boner. Yep, WandaVision, stay tuned. Fuck you. Especially because I feel like Wanda right now. Anyway. Alright. Okay, Dave Trombore of Collider said that the series is less about social commentary and more so about a girl, her horse, and real complicated friendships and life lessons learned in a refreshingly sincere manner. I mean, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Jesse trying to magically recreate 2023 to 2024 as a cope. Could you shut up? I'm trying to make funny jokes, not get my... Anyway, what about home video? Because despite this being a Netflix show, it actually surprisingly does have home video releases. I'm just saying you're not wrong about WandaVision. Okay, well actually, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I can't argue. And I feel like if I channel my rage hard enough, I probably will encase all you fucking niggers in a hex. Jesse wants some fuck. No, I don't even want fuck at this point. I just want somebody to seriously hold me as tight as possible and tell me it's okay. Hi, second viewer. Sylv's profile said, oh! Anyway. Also, hey, Spider, you're really late. We were just talking about... Yeah, hey, God damn it. Hey, Spider, you're really late. We were just talking about Spirit Riding Free. Before you say, didn't we do that last week? Nope, that was Stallion of the Cimarron. Now I'm on to the Netflix show. And its movie. Oh, my profile pic? Yep. But hey, Spider, I don't know how long you're staying, but hey, welcome. I'm not repeating. But anyway. Hello, my... Oh, god damn it. But hey, Dave, you're really late. Spirit Riding Free. I'm not repeating myself. I'm just going to pick up from where I left off. Anyway, what about home video? Because despite this being a everyone is coming, please don't. Anyway, what about home video? Because despite this being a Netflix show, it actually surprisingly does have DVD releases. Anyway, Spirit Riding Free, seasons 1 through 4, containing the first 4 seasons, was released on DVD on June 5th. My gender is yes. Okay. Was released on DVD on June 5th, 2018 by Universal Home Entertainment. And it was then shortly followed by seasons 5 through 8 on DVD on September 24th, 2019. These 2 releases, okay, yes. Or wait, my gender is run fast, okay, no, okay, yes. Funny, my pronouns are ol and school, yep, fuck, anyway. Alright, anyway, but yeah. Those 2 DVDs make up the whole series. So what do I think of Spirit Riding Free? Well, first, I should get an outsider's opinion. What did our gardener think of it? Well, actually, he wasn't in time. My pronouns, not yours, are color blind. Shut up! My pronouns are kill myself. Please don't. Don't. Anyway. I mean, to be fair, though, I'm on the same wavelength of depressed as you are. I said mine, not yours. I was reading what you said verbatim. You said, my pronouns, not yours, are colorblind. Okay. I was reading what you said verbatim, because otherwise you were going to say, read anyway. But then you said, shut up. Yes, because it was a colorblind joke. Both great pronouns. Anyway. Okay, but what did I... Okay, first an outsider's opinion. Thank you. Okay, anyway. First an outsider's opinion of Riding Free. You know, the gardener, that guy. Truth be told, he actually isn't entirely opposed to the show. But if you recall, or if you knew him, he would always lean more towards the original movie. And I get why, but he actually didn't totally hate it. He just isn't his thing. Other than horses, obviously. It's just the first movie is what he preferred. Now my opinion. I put this show off for the... Much like Paw Patrol isn't my thing. Exactly. Anyway, that's actually perfect. But anyway. Okay, but, what about my opinion? Well, I always put this show off for the longest time. Mainly because it was coming out when I was peak sexist, and before I even really knew it was based on a movie. Took me a little while to figure that out. So I didn't watch it for the longest time. I just shat on and joked about it. Because guess what? 12-year-old me, what... Wait, Jesse was sexist back then? Haven't I mentioned that on this show plenty of times before? Oh, that's right. You have short-term memory loss. No, but yeah, I have mentioned that before. Anything that looked even the slightest bit girly back when I was younger, I wanted nothing to do with. Oh, it's so funny how that... No, I mean, when aren't you Okay, you're not wrong, but anyway, You're not wrong, but anyway. Especially after now, where I kind of don't trust anybody, but eventually I did decide to give the show a chance. It's pretty good. Is it a masterpiece? No. Is it aimed at kids? I'm racist to other racists. Yep. Gran Turismo. Stay tuned. Anyway, what I was saying. Is it a masterpiece? No. Is it spectacular? No. But it's a decent kids show. And while, yeah, it's definitely a far cry from the original movie, I don't think comparing... Is it Spirit in Spirit? More accurately, it's Spirit in name only. Like, other than the name and the character being the son of the original, it really has nothing to do with the original film. What other movies have you watched with the gardener? I'd rather not waste my breath right now. All kinds, yes, all kinds, but we're not going to waste my breath on that right now. I've already been interrupted enough. I'll save that for another time. Now, please let me finish, but anyway. Okay, but... A girl show starring a dude? Anyway. Okay, but anyway, but... Spicy movies? Please stop. Now. Anyway, but... What I was saying. But... But... It is Spirit in name... I mean, yeah, I will admit that's funny, but I'm still going to ask you to stop. But anyway. But it's Spirit in name only. You know, other than Superman versus Spider-Man XXX. No, but Spicy Pig. Stop! He did say he doesn't want that shit out there, correct? And I did tell you that, correct? Stop. Or literally any of the Axel Braun parody films. I didn't say real pigs. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Black and white pigs. Let's get back on topic, okay? I meant pigs of fictional character. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Like Tinkerbell. Okay, yeah, oh, I don't know. Stop. Spider. Bad boy. Stop. Bad boy. Stop. Stop it. Stop. He did say, don't go around speaking it. Stop. Fictional characters are fine, but if you speak of things that... But I'm not... Stop! You're gonna cause it all over again. Stop! I'm just gonna ignore all of you, but anyway... But we need a wonder after. Let's respect the gardener's wish. Thank you. Thank you. It only took 261 episodes. Anyway, actually 263. Anyway, oh, I'm trying to be respectful in my own way. Correct. Okay, let's get back to horses. But is it on par with the movie? No. But do I think it's still a fine kids show? Yeah, I think so. Would I recommend it? Honesty is illegal here. Okay, anyway. Okay, but... Anyway, but... Would I recommend... Is it a good date note? I think you meant to say date night, but... Anyway, before I actually blow my brains out, do I recommend Spirit Riding Free? Date night? Probably. Anyway, do I recommend Spirit Riding Free? I mean, if you're a fan of the original movie and you like to see more, I wouldn't recommend porn films on it. I've had date night movies with Alan. That's really cute. That's really cute. That's really sweet. I'm with Spider on that one. Yeah. We're not talking porn, though. Now, anyway, but even though this is actually the most softcore porn show you could probably find on YouTube, not gonna lie. Like, I'm telling you, this show's like 2 steps away from being porn. He said I wouldn't. Okay, but I know. Now let's get back on topic. Pretty please. Anyway, but I guess I'd recommend it. But, you know, go into this knowing it's a kid's show. Don't expect, like, YouTube... Yes, YouTube peener. On that note, would you believe that... YouTube Red. Would you believe that we're not done yet, though? You see, following the success of Spirit Riding Free, DreamWorks decided to do something... Spirit 2? Yep, anyway. Following the success of Spirit Riding Free, DreamWorks opted to do something really interesting. I was to say. I guess I'd recommend it. Well, damn, Jesse, no wonder you don't have... Are you trying to get on my nerves tonight? Yes. Oh. You're gonna wake Mom. I'm just gonna ignore all of you, and I'm just gonna keep going. Anyway, now, what I was saying. Okay, but... Oh, Jesus, that went up to 4. Oh, God. Don't ignore me, okay. Anyway, okay, thank God it went back down to 3. Anyway, what I was saying. You will be boiled. Oh, don't get me wrong, Spider. You're one of the few people in life I can still say that I love, but you will be boiled. Oh, God. The 4th viewer was scared off by my farts. Anyway, fuck you. On that note, following the success of Spirit Riding Free, DreamWorks opted to do something really interesting. Announce a feature film adaptation, which has never happened for any of their Netflix originals prior to this. So to see... It rode free, alright, yep. So to see DreamWorks give a Netflix show, one of their Netflix shows, a movie, was interesting. Anyway, in 2019, they announced that a theatrical film based on the show, and Nope, not going to try and pronounce that. Nope. You already know I'm bad with Pokemon names, so I'm not going to bother. I am not going to bother pronouncing it. Anyway, in 2019, Rose. Okay, Rose. Okay. Anyway, in 2019, DreamWorks announced that a theatrical film based on Spirit Riding Free would be releasing in 2021. That's it. That is all that was known for the longest time. Annie, are you fair? Stop. And then COVID happened. Nope, not quite. Anyway. But what I was saying, Stop telling me to stop. The only reason I've been telling you to stop so far is because you've genuinely been saying shit that's genuinely freedom of... Oh my god. You're on a roll tonight, aren't you, you fucking bitch. I have... Oh my god. Oh, Nikocado Avocado. Yeah, Nikocado... How... Oh, god. How am I the sane one, right? Yeah, how? Typically, you're the one that's saying all the shit, getting on my nerves, but tonight... Also, yeah, Nikocado Avocado. Thank you, Spider. Nikocado Avocado. You should just be glad I do this show at night when everybody's asleep, so I have the decency not to wake everyone up. Okay, anyway. What I was saying. Nikocado 2 steps ahead, stay tuned. Okay, get dicked. Now, back on topic. But not much was known about this movie prior to anything, real. Aw, Jesse getting angry. What happened to you? Okay, anyway, but... Oh my god, anyway. Anyway, but... Not much was known about the movie prior to release, or to really anything. All that was known was that a new film in the Spirit franchise was coming. It was coming to theaters, it was connected to the Netflix show, and that it was coming in 2021. That's it. That is all that was known. Now, before I read the Wikipedia page for Untamed, and then before I give my review of Untamed, I want you to tell me, just before I read, how do you think it went? How do you think DreamWorks doing a theatrical film adaptation of an otherwise Netflix original went? Oh, what does it say? Reminds me of when Spider-Man 2 was announced. All we knew was the trailer for 2 years. Yep. In this case, it wasn't even that. It was just the basic premise of this movie exists. Or the game, yes. Okay. Look, Spider actually said something decent tonight. But yeah. How do you think DreamWorks making a movie based on a Netflix original series went? Just before I get to my review of it. How do you think that went? I just want to know how you think that went over. Pontypool changes everything. I don't even know what the hell you are talking about at this point. You speak fluent nonsense. I swear to Christ Almighty. I feel like I've been in the goddamn Twilight Zone. In fact, I feel like I probably did kill myself last year, and this is my hell. Like, legit, they dropped a teaser trailer in 2021, and then Sony went dark until 2023 when they dropped an official trailer. Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Like Ultimate Custom Night, yep. Funny how you're actually engaging in a pretty decent conversation with This Is My Hell. The funny image. Roderick really had the craziest party with 0 alcohol, yet all the huzz pulling up. If you've seen Roderick Rules, you know the accuracy of that statement. Roderick really did have the craziest party with 0 alcohol, yet all the huzz pulling up. They used beer cups, yep. They sure did. What was General Grant doing on the thermostat? Spirit Untamed is a 2021 American and they're not toys, they're figurines. Emmett, open the fucking door. Oh, look, you didn't piss me off. Shut that door. Okay, anyway, back on topic. Anyway, Spirit Untamed is a 2021 American animated adventure film produced by DreamWorks Animation and distributed by Universal Pictures. Because Universal is the current parent company of DreamWorks, in case you didn't know. The film was directed by Elaine Bogan and co-directed by Ennio Terceran Jr. And does this have to do with the first film? You'll find out. Anyway, from a screenplay written by Ari Wallington and Kristen Hahn, not to be confused with Catherine Hahn. The second theatrical release in the Spirit franchise, it is both a semi-sequel to the original film and a reboot of Riding Free. Unikitty. Okay, now what? Emmett. God damn it, you neurodivergent bitch! Anyway. Just say it how it is. Just say what you really think. Anyway. I feel like that's what you're thinking of me right now. Anyway. So yeah, it's both a semi-sequel to the original film, but again, in name only. That's what I think of myself. By the way, I don't know what's with you getting on my nerves tonight, but you were actually getting me a little upset. Anyway. Back to what I was saying, but yeah, it is. But Hawaii, we allow nude beaches. Django Fett, pack your things, we're leaving. Anyway, what I was saying. So yeah, it's both a semi-sequel to the original film, but again, in name only, and it's also a reboot of Riding Free. I'll explain that in a minute. Anyway. The film, as I said, was produced by... Okay, hang on. Okay. Also, sorry but not sorry. You got mad at me for just answering someone's question straight up, and after that, I just wanted to get you riled up more because of simply how simply I did it initially. Honesty is the best policy. Puts on maid outfit as you two argue like SpongeBob did, and now honesty is illegal. Yep. LMAO. Oh, so yeah, that's picture worthy. Let me grab the picture of that. On second thought, yeah, that's pic worthy. Let me grab that. And then I'm gonna fuck off to fuck you. Okay, and that's how I feel sometimes. Good! Okay, anyway, you fuck. Same with me when y'all fight. Yep. Okay, anyway. I want to just cry myself into a corner. But anyway, the film, as I said, was produced by DreamWorks Animation, and as I said, was distributed by Universal Pictures. Anyway, the film released in theaters on June 4th, 2021. It had a budget of just $30 million, and it made, get this, 42.7 million. Oopsie daisy. Like I said, it made 42.7 million on a budget of 30 million. Yep, it bombed. Anyway, featuring the voices of Isabella Marced, Jake Gyllenhaal, Marseille Martin. Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal, Donnie Darko, stay tuned. Anyway, McKenna Grace, Julianne Moore, Walton Goggins, and Andre Braugher in his only animated feature film. The film follows a young girl named Fortuna Lucky Prescott, who Viva Pinata, stay tuned. DD, don't know what you're saying. Anyway, who moves to the rural small community of Miradero. Yeah, it's basically the plot of the show, if you couldn't tell. Dungeons and Dragons. Anyway. Yeah, it's basically the plot of the show, if you couldn't tell. Kind of. Or DD from I don't care. Anyway, the film was announced to be in development. Donnie and Darko. Or DD, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Archetype. Whatever. Anyway. I don't care. Anyway. The film was announced to be in development in October 2019. Damn, Daniel. That's a classic. Anyway. The film was announced to be in development in October 2019, and production was done remote. Who remembers that? Me. Okay, who wants to go to the Four Seasons Orlando? Me. Anyway. Oh no, our table! It's broken! Anyway. The film was announced to be in development in October 2019, and production was done remotely during the COVID-19 pandemic. The film... Oh yes, our table! It's fixed! Yep, our table, it's fixed. Anyway. The film is dedicated to the memory of Kelly Asbury, the co-director of the original film, who died on June 26, 2020. Oh, Jesus fuck, what are you bitching at now? Oh, you don't care, eh? FNAF World was released in 2016 and was widely panned by fans due to being made primarily for mobile devices and not being a horror game. Shut up. Anyway. You're messing with a victim. I hope you know that. You're messing with a victim. No. What? Anyway. Harley Poe loves FNAF. I don't know who that is. We're all victims. Jesse, victim on victim charge. Anyway, fuck you. Anyway. The film was released theatrically in the U.S. on June 4th, 2021. It received mixed reviews from critic... Hot. Flint and Steel! Anyway. And lived on Nick! Anyway. Also hot, yes. Anyway. Okay, anyway. The film received mixed reviews from critics who deemed the film to be inferior to the original. Victim on victim carnage? Hot. Okay, no. Yep. Harvey Weinstein fucking P. Diddy in prison. Anyway. What I was saying. The film received mixed reviews from critics who deemed the film to be inferior to the original and unnecessary, although its animation and humor did receive some praise. The film was a box office failure and grossed over $42 million worldwide against a budget of $30 million, making it both DreamWorks Animation's cheapest film and its lowest grossing at the time, until 2 years later. Yeah, an even bigger bomb came just 2 years later. Now, what are you saying? Deinstein or Witty? You decide. I'll take killing myself for $2 million, Alex. Jesus Christ. What even just fell? Oh, that's what fell. P. Diddy and Harvey Weinstein shipping Discord Sonic. Okay. pig, goat, banana, cricket. Now, what do you want me to look at, cocksucker? Okay, I don't know if I can watch this on camera because because Nirvana is very copyrighted. So let me just carry on with the review, please. But first, let me pick this up out of the floor, because this just fell. So if you could let me pick this up, please, that would be appreciated. Okay, wait, actually, yeah, where did he just... Son of a bitch. Hang on. Oh, there he is. Okay. Fucking camouflage. Fell off the set. Pretty please. I'm in the middle of a review. Okay, hang on. Okay, please play it, LOL. I am applesauce. It's not copyrighted. Pretty please. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. Okay, now, I am in the middle of a review. I will play the video after the review, okay? I promise, please. It's like you know I'm not feeling it. And instead of trying to make me feel better, you're just trying to send me further down the spiral. Sometimes you feel like you think? How do I know you're not one of them? How do I know you are not one of them? How do I know? How do I know? Because, Dave, I trust you, but there's always a chance. Nut. Sometimes you just are one. Nut! Anyway. Okay, back to the review, goddammit. Okay. Anyway. Damn it, this chair is just not wanting to cooperate tonight. What about that motherfucking reception? Well. Okay. The reception. Okay? On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 47% based on 116 reviews with an average rating of 5.5 out of 10. 0 to 50 and 4. The consensus read, you not just a nut, you're a whole Virginia peanut. You feel like that YouTube vid of the guy with the uncomfortable chair and it gets so bad he smashes it. And his entire... Anyway, I want to smash all of you, and I don't mean sexually. Now, anyway, 0 to 50 and 4. You know the one. Yes, I do. Anyway, the consensus reads, while it might be a passable diversion for younger viewers, Spirit Untamed is a middling sequel that lacks the essential energy suggested by its title. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 49 out of 100. He wants to squish us to put in his... Shut up! Anyway. I mean, to be fair, though, putting you in a jar would be punishment, but don't think I'm going to be nutting in that jar. No, I'm probably going to be bleeding into the jar. I don't get it. Oh, you innocent summer child. Anyway. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score... Yep, Rainbow Dash jar. Haha, funny. Anyway. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of... Fat jar. Okay, stop. Anyway. The film has a weighted average... Pikachu jar. Fuck. Anyway. The film has a weighted average score of 49 out of 100. Based on 23 crit... Fap... Binks. Yep. Misa fucking hate all of you. Anyway. The film has a weighted average score... Are you saying it for the... Stop. Anyway. I probably have Pikachu in a glass container. That's hot. Anyway. 49 out of 100 based on 23 critics, 0 to 50 and 4, indicating mixed or average reviews. Audiences polled, no, it's a collectible. Anyway. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale, the same as the 2002 film. Post-Tracks, however, reported that 87% gave it a positive score, with 66 saying they would definitely recommend it. So somebody out there liked it. Anyway, Lovia, not even going to try and say her last name, just Lovia, of The Hollywood Reporter, praised the film for its animation, writing that, did our gardener like it? I'm getting there. Keep your Kentucky Fried Chicken fetish away from me. Anyway, what I was trying to say. Anyway, praised the film for its animation, writing, Spirit Untamed is beautiful to look at and occasionally genuinely funny. The stunning and detailed animations saturate Lucky's world with an impressive array of colors. You don't have to be gay to appreciate a man's beauty. Nah, I'd fuck you. Anyway. From the crimson apples she feeds Spirit to the pistachio and emerald green leaves on the swaying trees. I saw Michael Brandon in my head reading that. Okay, I'm out of here. Do you date the jars and keep them set? Stop! Oh my God. I'm glad that we had more than one person tonight, but both. Oh, Jesus. I got a jar of dirt. Oh, yeah, I should... Hey, I'm just trying to keep this wholesome. And I'm glad you are. Which is why I'm still going out of my way to actively ignore everybody. Anyway, I'm starting to think I get why some people go the ghost route. But anyway, however, in criticizing the character of Spirit, she noted that Spirit is more one-dimensional here. Chicken jockey! I got a jar of dirt, I got a jar of dirt, I got a jar of dirt, and guess what's inside of it? Anyway, is more one-dimensional. Are you talking to me? Stop. Anyway, is more one-dimensional here. He lacks the simultaneous mix of curiosity and complete disdain for humans that made his perspective charming in the first place. Are they describing a horse or are they talking about me? John Cena, are you sure about that? Yeah. No, but seriously, are they describing a horse or are they describing me? Anyway, Pete Hammond. Hammond, you idiots! You reversed into the sports lorry! Anyway, Pete Hammond, Top Gear, stay tuned. Nah, say it. Fuck! Nah, say it. Say it again and tell me if you meant it towards me, the ghost. Oh, god damn it. They're talking about your pony Sona. Okay. You, Spider. I suddenly get why some people go the ghost route, and I'm not saying that to you as if you're a ghost. So don't give me any shit. I'm talking about somebody else. Not you. Anyway. Pete Hammond of Dateline, or Deadline, not... I know I'm not a ghost, please stop. Please stop. Anyway. Deadline, not Dateline. Let's start over. Pete Hammond of Deadline. Frightener, stay tuned. I don't know what that is. I'm going to be a ghost one day in about 8... Oh, Jesus Christ. What the fuck is wrong with all of you? Like, genuinely. What the fuck is wrong with every last fucking one of you? Tell you what, I almost... What did Sylv do wrong? Oh, Jesus. I mean, nothing really. Why did you attack? Oh my... Oh, Jesus. You're all talking at the same time. Classic Michael J. Fox horror flick that I've never heard of, but okay, I believe you exist. Okay, anyway. Pete Hammond of What Did I Do Wrong exists. Okay, anyway. Pete Hammond of Deadline praised the film for its female cast, stating that after all the decades of boy-driven stories set in the Wild West, it is refreshing to see the girls get their turn. You're beautiful. I don't know who you're saying that to, but thank you. Anyway, it is refreshing to see the girls get their turn, and that is exactly what Spirit Writing free writer Ari Wellington and Kristen Hahn have in mind. Sylve, okay. Along with their director Elaine Bogan and producer Karen Foster. Additionally, Hammond praised the soundtrack and vocal performances, which he wrote were perfectly pitched here, a step above the TV show, if not quite up to the artistry of the original film. What'd you say? It is refreshing to see the girls get their turn. Why does that sound wrong? Also, thank you, Spider. Someone's dirty-minded. Yeah, what was your first clue? Was your first clue the word wonder? Was it the first clue after? Or was the first clue dark? You use that phrase too much. Sorry for fucking existing. It will unfortunately continue to happen until my brain tells me that enough is enough. What's your first clue? It never works in the way you present. Okay, I get it. I'm not good at anything. You've made that quite clear. Peter DeBrute. I'm about to yeet, I swear. Let's just get back to the movie, especially because it is already getting a little late, the jar jokes estimate. Okay, let's just get back to it. Anyway, Peter DeBruge of Variety was critical of... Oh, god damn it. Reminds me of my brother. He does the same thing, and I'm always like, my guy, if you're gonna overuse a phrase, at least use it correct. Peter DeBruge of Variety was critical of the film's animation, stating that the film substitutes unappealingly designed, obviously digital characters who've been badly rigged and stuck in under-detailed environments. He also added that Be right back. Goes into bush. Okay, anyway. He also added that Spirit still looks like Spirit, but neither the horse nor the girl has much of a personality, while the plot is less sophisticated than what audiences might expect from an early 20th century single-reel silent movie. Wow. So if you ever think I'm critical, girls don't have personality. Yeah. So if you ever think I'm a critical, cynical, goddamn little bitch, just so you know, film critics exist. Just so you know. Moist. Yeah. Shut. No, I'm better than Moist. You know why? Anyway. By the way, sorry for this episode becoming a complete train wreck. I had no idea Spider was going to come in here with a mission. I had no idea. So I just want to apologize for his bullshit. I forgive you, buddy. Okay. Hey, Copper, should I shoot myself or should I stab myself? Wow, no answer. Just like the rest of them. Get Copper. Do you not understand what happens every time you tell me to get Copper? I swear to God. Don't you know what happens every time? Does that critic even know what rigging means? Depends. Do the critics know what Pokemon are? But anyway, that's the last critic review that I'm going to be reading, because I don't want to get my blood boiling even higher than it's already been fucking boiling tonight. Anyway, They're a bunch of riggers, yep. Anyway, after a brief theatrical release, the film was released on digital platforms on June 24th, 2021. Oh, yeah, him saying bad rigging makes me think that he knows that buzzword and just thinks he knows what it is. Yep. As Scooby Doo would say, stay tuned. Yeah, anyway. Oh, yeah, did I forget to mention, this movie came out in theaters on June 4th, and it came out on digital platforms on June 24th. Moving on. It was then released on DVD and Blu-ray. So fast, yep. Anyway, it was then released on DVD and Blu-ray on August 31st, 2021. Movie run, whatever. Anyway, it was then released on August 31st, 2021 on Blu-ray and DVD by Universal Home Entertainment. Alright. Now, you, Sylv, you did ask earlier, did the gardener like Spirit Untamed? Well, truth be told, he never did say if he's seen the movie, but he did, on many occasions, pester me to buy a copy of it. Listen, I have a fuck-kill relationship with him. You know that at this point. But I'm still a woman of my word. I still have to live up to my promises. If he's going to tell me to buy it, I'm going to buy it. Yeah. A man. Whatever. But I'm still somebody of my word. And if he tells me to do it, I'm going to do it eventually. It's going to take me a while, but I'm going to do it. And yeah, I did do it. So yeah. Here it is. This was the Blu-ray release. Worth noting, by the way, how do you talk to the gardener so much? Does he... I'm not in the mood to answer that question. Anyway, worth noting, by the way, when this film for... God damn it. Okay. How do you talk to the gardener so much? Does he get any yard work done? No comment. Anyway. Worth noting, by the way. Whatever. Fuck. Funny. Anyway. Worth noting, by the way, while this film was just called Spirit Untamed when it came out in theaters, when it came out on Blu-ray, they retroactively retitled it Spirit Untamed the Movie. Why? I have no idea. If our gardener told you to jump, would you? Well, it depends. Let's flip it. If he told you to jump, would you? Well, it depends, LMFAO. Okay, it depends on what? Like, it depends. Like, you're not being very clear. No, I'm laughing on what you said. Whatever. Anyway. But yeah, he pestered me to buy a copy because a wise person would say no. There you go. Anyway. Yeah, he pestered me to buy a copy of this movie. Listen, I have a fuck-kill relationship with him. But I'm still someone of my word. And if he tells me to do it, I'm gonna do it. This might make him really happy. This might make him feel nothing. I don't know. But either way, I hope he eventually catches wind of the fact I have it now, and I hope it brings him some delight. That his pestering worked. Anyway. Blu-ray plus DVD. Spirit Untamed the Movie. DreamWorks logo. Same on the other side. The back. If he told you to buy a copy of the Guy game, would... No, I would not. I know the Guy game well enough. I know why that game was recalled. Sounds like this gardener. I would... You just had to make yourself... Oh, no. Should I turn off the chat tomorrow? I wouldn't even buy a copy of the re-release. Okay, no. That okay, no was working you favors. Now, anyway, the back. Bonus features include Finding Your Spirit, sing-along videos, snack time, s'mores, deleted scenes, and more. The guy game just seems like a dumb game regardless. Agree. Anyway, pretty much the same underneath, but with some slight differences, of course. And, of course, a dumb game with an under... Stop! Anyway. Blu-ray disc, DVD, yes. Okay, we're running a little late, so I'm going to keep it brief. But I first watched Spirit on... Oh, God damn it. I said sadly, can you calm down, gay Jesus? Oh, my God. Should I turn off the chat tomorrow? Anyway. Okay. But I first watched Spirit Untamed. No, don't turn off chat. Okay, noted. Anyway. I first watched Spirit Untamed on Peacock. And I'm going to be real with you all. My first viewing, I thought it was just okay. On the cock, yep. Anyway, my first viewing, I thought it was just okay. I didn't think it was bad at all. I thought it was just okay. Stop being a dick. Okay. I mean, was it great? No. But was it bad? No. I wouldn't call it as mid as Leprechaun, but it still wasn't amazing. It was just okay. Good, but okay. YouTube censored my dead... Good. Anyway. But what I was saying. But... where I was going with this. But... yeah. My first viewing of the film, I thought it was just okay. Wasn't great. Wasn't terrible. Just okay. Second view... It's so sad Spirit Untamed died of applesauce. Who the hell is Spirit Untamed? Applesauce! Anyway. My second viewing, though, which was actually this Blu-ray release, was the second time I watched it, I actually ended up liking it a lot more. Again, it's still not as good as the first movie, by far, but it's a pretty good movie. Again, definitely aimed at... That just reeks of Mind Goblin. Okay. Anyway, definitely, you know, a kid's movie, yeah. But a good kid's movie, I will admit. I will say, though, because Mind Goblin D's nuts, yep. Anyway, I will say, though, because I did say that it was an adaptation of the Netflix show of Spirit Riding Free. So I want you to tell me this. How closely do you think this movie follows the plot of the show? Serious answers only. None. You're fairly close. You're fairly close. 7. I'll take that as an answer. Okay. To answer the question, Spirit Untamed starts out fairly original, as in doesn't really pick up anything from the show. And then by the time we get to Lucky and her mom moving to Miradero, it's pretty much the same as the show, but with some stuff slightly changed. And from then on, it's basically an adaptation of the first episode, albeit stretched out to feature length. But then, right when she, of course, rides Spirit for the first time, it... Can I please change my number to a 4? I meant 4 real. Oh, hey, Red, you're really late. You actually just showed up almost to the end of this episode. But hi, Red. You just missed 94 minutes of straight fucking madness. I promise Spider is not a pedo. Anyway, but what I was saying. But yeah, Red, you showed up really late. To recap for you, hoof job. Okay, anyway. But to recap, Jax, stop! Anyway, what I was saying. But, oh, Jesus. But anyway. Have you ever seeded a yard free command? Jesus Christ. Anyway, but what I was trying to say. From then on, it's basically a stretched out adaptation of the first episode of the Netflix show. I think he left. Damn. Fuck. I mean, to be fair, though, now that I know Red a bit better, it kind of seems in character for him to just show up, say something like that, and then leave. That's not an insult, by the way. I'm just saying that's in character. So, anyway, picking up from where I left off. But from then on, it basically becomes a stretched out version of the show's first episode. Red is an enigma, yep. And then by the time Lucky rides Spirit for the first time, it basically diverges from the show's plot once again, and then from then on, it's a largely original story. So then why didn't they just make it a completely original story with no ties to the Netflix show? It's all over the place. Yeah, so basically it's 50-50. It's half original story, half adaptation of the show. Anyway, remember when I said that it was a box office bomb? Because Jackson needed another girl show to flock to. Stop. Just like Wonder After Dark to an evening. Stop. Anyway. Hey, remember when I said that Spirit Untamed was a box office bomb? Yeah. So what's the future of the Spirit franchise? Well, there were plans for a season 9 of Spirit Riding Free. You see, throughout the show's run, there was a new season about every year. So, 2017, 18, 19, 20. So, 4 years, 8 seasons, they were really short. Although, after a while... Sorry, just changing the channel there. Wait until 2034 when they bring it back when everyone's reborn. Yep, pretty much. But anyway. But there were plans for a season 9. Now, although a concrete release date was never given for season 9, I imagine it probably would have premiered after the release of Spirit Untamed, either in late 2021 or early 2022. Sounds like they wanted money, money, money. Yeah, anyway. But I imagine that after the film bombed, that plans for a 9th season were shelved and then later canceled. But the franchise did continue to live on, albeit in a very minor way. You see, after the release of Untamed, came a series of shorts called Spirit and Friends. These were released on the official DreamWorks YouTube channel, and then later released on Peacock. Mr. Krabs if he liked ponies, correct. Anyway. These shorts are fine. And that's all I can say. Those shorts are just fine. But then they stopped producing. Spirit and Friends sounds like a parody. It really does. And somehow it isn't. But anyway. But yeah, those shorts are just fine. And that's all I can say about them. Anyway. But that's basically where the story ends. Spirit Untamed was a bomb. Spirit and his spirit friends. Yep. But that's basically where the story ends. Spirit Untamed... Anyway. Riding Free proved to be a decent success. Spirit Untamed proved to be kind of a bomb. And then there were a couple shorts, and that was it. Currently, it seems like DreamWorks has basically abandoned this franchise. Do I think they'll revisit it in the future? Maybe someday. They did it before, they'll sure as hell do it again. I mean, why else do you think we're getting Shrek 5 almost 20 years later? In the Spirit of Spirit, the film from 2002 with Matt Damon starring a horse named Spirit in Spirit. Yep. But in conclusion, I think it's one of the more interesting franchises that DreamWorks has ever spawned. In that it really wasn't meant to be a franchise, but kind of became one. And not only that, but Shrek 5 has been delayed, by the way, so who knows? Are they going to fix those designs? No. I'm serious. Not to go off track, but seriously. And I know we're running overtime, but I don't care. If you think DreamWorks is actually going to pull a Sonic and change those designs, you gotta be fucking stupid. Designs are fine. Exactly. Like, at first I thought the designs looked a little but I got used to them. I warmed up to them. Yeah, I'm still not crazy about how Donkey looks like taxidermy, but I'm not a fan, but they're fine. Yeah, they're not the worst, yeah. But you gotta be stupid if you think they'll change the designs. Plus, the movie was already delayed before the designs were shown. Because it was actually delayed before the teaser went out. So, no, the delay was not a byproduct of that. Even Sonic wasn't nearly as bad in my opinion. Yep. Pinocchio looks like the zesty one. Yeah, pretty much. I'm wearing women's underwear. I can't really do a Pinocchio voice, but yeah. But I guess in conclusion, it's one of the more interesting franchises in but in DreamWorks' library. It's one of the more interesting franchises. And it's one that I honestly would recommend. Even if you're not like a horse person or anything, or an animation person, give the movie a shot. Hell, if you really want, give the Netflix show a shot. Give Untamed a shot. If you really want to go there, do it. In conclusion, we snaw. By the way, The Office came, but what did we learn? Father, when can I leave and be on my own? By the way, The Office came out 20 years ago, exactly. But will I talk about that tonight? Nope, we're out of time. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Tomorrow, The Office. Nope, you already said tomorrow was the Lego Ninjago movie. Wait, Flint and Steel. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot Flint and Steel. Okay, so I guess tomorrow is off. Oh, gee. You know what? I'll decide myself. I'll flip a coin. Heads or tails. Heads, we do The Office. Tails, we do the Lego Ninjago movie. Heads or tails, whichever it lands on is heads. Okay. Alright. Button side up is heads. Ass up is tails. This is probably going to be the most rigged thing ever, but okay, it landed ass up. It landed ass up. It landed ass up. Sure it did. Flint and Steel on my balls. Nope, not yet. Spider wants us to listen. And yes, I know this episode's running overtime. Oh, no. Don't copyright me with body wash. Okay. Sorry for holding you all hostage, my dear fucking bitches. Flint and steel. Okay, just making damn sure this isn't copyrighted. Okay. No! What the fuck? No! Wait. I have to clip that. Okay. Hey, he made a reference to the Sonic roleplay with the chair. That wasn't a reference on purpose. Oh my god. That actually hurt. Oh my god. Oh my god. This chair probably weighs more than I do. You know, actually, how the hell did I not just wake everyone up? Like, wait, actually, how? Okay, but thank you for giving me that absolute banger. My god. Oh, I'm going to be listening to that a lot. Oh, by the way, we're getting really close to the release of that godforsaken movie. Oh my god. I'm getting really hot and I'm getting really sweaty. That took a lot out of me. Can't wait. Yep. I think that might also be the rare stream that you actually stay for the entirety of. Ooh, okay. Alright, this episode really has run overtime. Like, this might be the longest one we've done in a while. Not the longest ever, but the longest we've done... Discord, okay. I was gone for an hour. Well, I mean, yeah. Yep, there... Oh my god. Yep, there's the clip. Oh my god. Yep. Yep. Yep, there's the clip. Oh my god. I did not expect that to be as good as it was. That was amazing. The fucking chair. Jack Black Steve is amazing. Agree. Oh, at first I thought Jack was terrible as Steve, but god, he's great. Okay, this was quite the show tonight. Anyway, what did we learn? Hang on. Okay, but yeah, what did we learn? Because I don't know what we learned, honestly. Oh, I learned that Spirit's a great date night movie if you want to get down with your... Sure, let's roll with that. By the way, Flint and Steel on my balls, ass up in your face. But will I elaborate further? Nope. Because I've said enough. Also, it's getting late. But for now, that's all the time we have for tonight. But always remember, eat your cereal, go to bed, to be continued. God made you special and he loves you very much. If you do drugs, you go to hell before you die. Good night, and have a day.